So this week on my quest to see what food from history tastes like, I'm going back to 1967 to recreate the original Big Mac recipe. So although it went on to be a global sensation, McDonald's had some really humble origins. Believe it or not, McDonald's was trading for 30 years before the Big Mac was invented. So I'm going to try and recreate the original Big Mac recipe and look at the history of how and why it came to be. So to make our stand-in for a McDonald's bun, we need to pour into a pan 200 ml of whole milk, 100 ml of water, and 50 grams of unsalted butter. Then going to warm this on a gentle heat until the butter's melted. And then while that cools, I'm going to tip in 500 grams of flour, along with a tablespoon of caster sugar, a teaspoon of salt, and 7 grams of dried yeast. Work this mixture together. So once cooled, mix in the milk mixture and 1 beaten egg and work it together until you have a smooth dough. So interpretations differ a little bit about when Richard and Maurice McDonald opened their first restaurant. You could say it was the Aerodrome in California in 1937, where they only sold hot dogs and orange juice. Then 3 years later in 1940, they opened the McDonald's restaurant in San Bernardino in California. However, at this point, their focus is more as a barbecue pit, selling barbecue beef, barbecue pork. They also sold things like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, tamales. Then later again in 1948, the brothers closed the restaurant for about 3 months to refit for a new restaurant that would focus exclusively on burgers and drinks. And by 1955, Ray Kroc had joined the operation and was beginning to franchise the concept out across the country. But one franchisee in Pennsylvania realized that the menu wasn't enough to attract the hungry local crowd of steel mill workers in his area. They wanted something more substantial, and he was facing stiff competition from other chains like Big Boy and Burger King. So in 1967, Jim Delegati started selling an engorged version of the McDonald's burger, which was basically the standard McDonald's burger, but doubled up. So now I'm going to turn this out and divide it into our burger buns. McDonald's say that each of their burger buns weighs 74 grams, so I'm going to try and make it as accurate to that as I can. So when the Big Mac inventor was given permission to trial his new burger, the only caveat was that he could only use existing McDonald's produce. And at first, the McDonald's bun wasn't actually big enough to fit 2 patties on. The first day of cooking them apparently just turned into a meaty landslide. So he ended up ordering some larger sesame buns from a local baker on the sly. So these homemade ones are probably truer to the first ever Big Mac. And then the demand for that bigger bun was so great that McDonald's rolled it out a year later in 1968. And then by 1969, it accounted for 19% of the company's total sales. So I'm going to cover them in cling film now and leave them to rest for about 30-45 minutes. So once your rolls have finished proving, brush them with a little bit of whole milk, some sesame seeds, and bake in the oven for about 10 minutes. They should emerge golden brown and ready to go after they've cooled. So the next thing we're going to contend ourselves with is the Big Mac sauce. In the Big Mac's original 1968 TV advert, it never mentions special sauce. They called it their own secret sauce. So I'm not a massive McDonald's fan, so I really hadn't appreciated just how closely guarded a secret this sauce is. It's apparently sent to McDonald's outlets in sealed containers, and the people who are in the know about it have to sign NDAs. But thankfully, one former executive chef of McDonald's didn't get this legal memo and then shared the ingredients list with the world in 2012. His video sharing the recipe has mysteriously been deleted since, which is why I would like to randomly at this point say hello to any McDonald's lawyers watching. So although we didn't get the measurements, we do have a list of the ingredients. Though to be fair, it doesn't even scratch the surface of the ingredients listed on the McDonald's website. So having not tried secret sauce, Big Mac sauce, whatever they call it, in a couple of decades, I'm going to try and recreate it. So into a bowl, I'm going to add a cup of mayonnaise, then a 1/4 cup of sweet pickle relish, then 2 tablespoons of yellow mustard, a teaspoon of white wine vinegar, then a teaspoon of garlic powder, onion powder, and 1 1/4 teaspoonfuls of paprika. Mix it all together. If you're into burgers, I think that's a fairly decent burger sauce. So in preparation for our burger, gonna slice up some white onion, some dill pickle, and where flavour goes to die, iceberg lettuce. So I'm gonna try and slice out a middle third of the burger bun. So now it's time to cook our burger. Initially, the Big Mac wasn't called the Big Mac. Jim Delegati originally called it the Aristocrat, which I think is a nod to the original McDonald's menu where the brothers called their burgers aristocratic burgers. Now McDonald's lists the ingredients for the burger on their website as 100% beef with salt and pepper after cooking. They also helpfully say that each burger patty is 45 grams before cooking. So it's time to make some patties. Okay, so that is 45 grams. I'm really surprised that's the amount they use for a burger. So can I use a mold to try and shape this into a very thin looking burger? So after weighing out 45 grams of mincemeat, I'm turning them into little burgers. And then you have 2 burger patties. Gonna lay in burgers now for a quick flash fry. So I'm gonna try frying them for about a minute and a half on each side. I'm gonna resist the temptation to smash these. So now I'm gonna take these off and rest them. Now it's time to assemble. Bottom layer, then some of our burger sauce, some onion, some of the crispy water, then a slice of American cheese, one of our beef patties, and rinse and repeat. More burger sauce, more onion, more lettuce, a few pickle slices, the beef patty, and our bun. I honestly have nothing to compare this with. I never go to McDonald's. I think I need a control group. Okay, thank you. So first impressions, their bun is a lot nicer in terms of browning. As someone who doesn't eat burgers, I'm really uninspired by this. I'm gonna try one of mine first. I already can tell you I need that middle slice because otherwise this would just be a landslide. There's no dignified way of doing this, is there? As someone who generally doesn't like burgers, that's actually really tasty. If I ever did have a burger, I would just put ketchup in it, but actually that sauce is quite nice and pickly. I'm gonna try the control group now, an actual McDonald's burger. For me, my sauce tastes exactly the same as the actual McDonald's burger. Other than that, there's not much to separate them other than the fact that my beef doesn't taste like a dried up leathery handbag. Again, hi McDonald's lawyers. The bun's obviously not right and I can't actually taste the cheese in theirs, which makes me think I've probably got better quality cheese. Fair play to McDonald's, they're popular for a reason, but I know which one I'd rather eat. I mean, if we compare cross sections, I know which one would be value for money for me. All right, time to go feed some burgers to other people. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if there's something else you'd like to see me recreate from history, and see you again soon.